What's up, world? This is Levon and Millennial Productions content creators.
And it's Goody from Good Shots Creative Content, and you've tuned in to another episode of Dope Talks.
Determination overpowers excuses.
Let's get it.
Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight.
And we're back
That's why they
with
follow me
another
on.
episode and
They think I
installment
know
of
what.
Dope Talks. Before we even get started, make sure you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe and share to everyone. We really hope that this message can really benefit your life and be a blessing to those of us that are really trying to strive to be the best version of ourselves. It's Goody from Good Shots Creative Content.
And it's Levon with Millennial Productions content creators.
And we wanted to spend this episode talking about excuse makers. And what we really wanted to talk about is some of those excuses that people make, and even some of us have made for ourselves to stay complacent. For those of us that have ever encountered successful people, I think it's very quick to see that there's one glaring difference between those people who are successful and those of us that we know that are just not going anywhere in life. And that is the amount of excuses they make.
Right.
I remember somebody had shared with me, they were talking about one of the things they saw. They were doing some like big time production. And they're back there with the people who are making, they getting paid to be out in Hollywood. And they were saying the thing that they found that was the most impressive, it wasn't so much their ability to, know the X's and O's, but it was their ability to problem solve. When something went wrong, instead of pointing the finger to find out who did this, why didn't you do this, they were the ones to instantly step in and get the thing done to solve those problems. And I think, like I said, that's one of the big differences. When something goes wrong, you're trying to find reasons for why it can go right and still be successful, as opposed to making excuses for why the woe is me,
Right.
mentality that so many of us have.
Right, and it's very easy to do because, the weight of the world can crash down on you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the best place to start is rock bottom. So if you feel that, you're at your end, that you're, at your lowest point, don't sit and use that as a reason to just give up, to just give in, to just be like, this is where I gotta be.
Yeah.
Understand, you was put here to do a lot more than what has been given to you. But at the end of the day, you have to go out and get it yourself. No one's going to give it to you. You have to go out and create it for yourself. So the lifestyle that you want to live, the lifestyle that you want to lead, you have to build it yourself. No one is just going to give it to you. At the end of the day, you have to understand, businesses have business to run. This isn't a Care For Me program. So it's business, not personal. And I think people tend to take a lot of things personal. They take it to heart. You're mad at your job because they fired you, but you're overlooking the fact that you showed up late 3 days in a row and that you had to go home because, you had child care issues. And I get it. I understand. But at the end of the day, that's business. It's not personal. So we can't feel no type of way because I'm going to say it again. They're not running a Care For Me program. They're running a business. It's there to make revenue and generate income because at the end of the day, everyone has, a family that they must provide for, so.
Right. And, and some of us, and that's not to say that some of us don't have real barriers and real roadblocks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because some of us have experienced discrimination, obviously because of race, because of gender, because of sexuality, because of religion, because of all sorts of reasons. So there are sometimes, so there's a lot of times that we genuinely do have to put ourselves in an environment that we have to overcome barriers. But you know what the thing is, during the civil rights era, they had a lot more barriers than we do, and a lot of people found reason not to. But then there were a lot of people who found reason that, against all odds, we're still going to put ourselves in a position that it doesn't matter what the laws look like. We're going to try to still be a trailblazer and fight for this anyway. So a lot of it's mentality.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do, we really wanted to explore. What are some of the things that people use as excuses? What are some of those common things that we tend to hear as reasons that people will make excuses, but then really kind of peeling back the veil a little bit and understanding, well, what did these excuses really mean? You know what I mean?
Trying to say.
Yeah, is this really a legitimate reason you can't succeed, or is this BS? You know, so one of the things we wanted to first explore is imprinting. You know, this idea that there was something that I experienced or I learned behavior that happened when I was younger that latched on to me, that now it prevents you from being accountable or prevents you from growing in your adult stage. You know, and some of us have witnessed people like this who use imprinting as why, you know, a reason they can't save money, they can't go out and work, they can't be productive, they can't grow, they can't study, that whatever the case may be. A lot of us will say, well, my parents didn't do this, or my home environment was this, or whatever the case may be, and we latch on to that, and it defines us as why we can never excel to another level. And I think when we really kind of look at what we're really doing and what we're really saying is, you know, it lacks accountability, because it puts these things in a way to where you don't ever have to deal with them. You know, you're able to just put them off and you know, lock it away, and then just keep moving about your day as if these things don't exist.
Right.
It's selfish. You know what I mean? Because what you're actually doing is you're putting the burden that is your responsibility, and you're making it everybody else's responsibility. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you people's problem, all right?
Yeah.
People want results from work that they didn't put in.
100.
I'm gonna tell you, everybody want a six pack, but don't nobody want to eat right. Don't nobody want to hit the gym. Ain't nobody trying to do cardio.
Yeah.
You feel me? Everybody want to pass the test, but they ain't study for it.
That's right.
You know, then they want point fingers and point blank. You know what I'm saying? So think about this. Think about you go to Walmart. You buy something.
Yeah.
You get home, you open up the box, you take it out, and it don't work right. It's broke. First thing you do, you got your receipt. You going right back to Walmart, and you got an attitude.
With it too.
You got an attitude.
Oh, yeah.
This ain't work. You sold me this faulty product. But at no point have you ever demanded a refund from yourself. Because when it comes to that, you for sure want your money back from Walmart. But have you ever demanded a refund from yourself when you didn't do what you were supposed to do? Because you mad at somebody else because they can't do for you what you want them to do for you, but you ain't doing for you what you supposed to do for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, man.
I'm telling you. And so we really have to be aware when we have those people around us. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the type of person, I believe in the law of averages, which says you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time around. So, you know, iron sharpens iron, but misery loves company. So either I'm gonna make the people around me strong and they're going to make me stronger, or someone's going to be bringing everybody down. So when you have somebody like that is in your circle around you, you know, and sometimes it's tough. Sometimes that person is close to us. Sometimes that person is a spouse. Sometimes that person is a brother or a sister. Sometimes that person are our own parents. But you have to be aware of when that person is in your camp, and you have to distance yourself from that type of toxic mentality.
And then put the ball back in your court. You control a lot more than what you think that you can control. You control waking up on time. You can control showing up prepared. You can control part of the outcome if you prepare in advance how you're supposed to. You know, the essence of life is growth. Be better today than you were yesterday, better tomorrow than you were today. Day by day, every single day, whether you feel like it or not. I know it's hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. I know you want it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you have to show it, because at the end of the day, nobody's just going to give it to you. Nobody's just going to hand it to you. Whatever it is in life that you want, you have to take the daily steps. Nobody's going to make you. It's just like a college student. Nobody's going to make you go to class. You have to go to class. You have to have the discipline and go to class. Because think, you have more discipline when you're going to that job that overworks you and underpays you. So why don't you have that same type of discipline when it comes to your everyday life, when it comes to your healthy eating habits, when it comes to your exercise habits, when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your family, when it comes to being an active parent for your children? How can we sit here and work a job all day for 8 hours, and then when it's time to go home, be mommy or daddy, husband or wife, or whoever we are, we're too tired. We don't have the energy for that.
And again, it's all mentality, because we all know when certain people call us, we pick up the phone and
Real
it's
quick.
like, oh, I don't have time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But when other people call us, we make time. You
Go
know
out
what I
of
mean?
our
So
way.
you can always prioritize. We when it comes to investments, some of us say we don't have money to spend on this and this, but then you look at how much money you spend on fast food a year. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that you see on that. You know what I mean? So when it comes to prioritization, we can always find a way to do those things that we find important to us.
We can always make
The
it
question is, what's important to you?
And then once you define what's important to you, then go after it every single day as if your life depends on it. Why? Because it does.
Definitely. And another thing that people tend to use as an excuse are time or their environment, location, all these types of things. You know what I mean? Like, well, I couldn't do this because you only gave me a week to do it, and I didn't have enough time to do the research or to do this, or I want to take this job offer, but it's all the way out in California, and I'm here in Missouri, and my mom's here, and my sister's here, and my brother's here, and nobody's sick or nothing, but I don't really want to leave because they need me. You know what I mean? So you find
They don't really need
they
you,
don't
but
really
they
need
need
you,
you.
but just in case they need me, I'm gonna still stay around. But I don't know if I want to do that. We let fear limit us as well. You know what I mean? And I think it's so crazy because a lot of times we're our own worst enemy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, sometimes people on the outside, they look at us and they see so much potential. They see they see someone who's intelligent, someone who lights up the room when they come around, and all these things, and then we walking around and we don't see those things in ourselves, and we limit ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people too, I always say this, I'm like, a lot of people walk outside in the real world and they put on what I call a fake persona suit.
Yeah.
They go in the closet and they put on that alter ego, that alter personality, so that they can either fit in certain rooms or in certain networks.
Right.
And then whenever they go home, they're a completely different person.
different, yeah.
So I always try to tell at least my athletes, you are rewarded in public for what you practice for years in private. Like, the reason why it looks easy when somebody's doing it in public is not because it's just God gifted to him. The reason Kobe was Kobe wasn't because he just showed up and was that great. It was because the hours and hours that he spent working on his craft.
Yeah.
So if you take time to work on whatever it is that you're trying to get at, like real time, the same time that you take Netflixing and chilling, that you take time to go out partying and hanging out with your friends, or trying to hang on to relationships that have been expired, because loyalty has a time limit. So when you're spending time chasing things that really aren't for you, and it feels like it's going against you, that's your intuition subconsciously telling you that it's not for you. You have to let that go. But a lot of us tend to not lean on our intuition.
Yeah.
We know what we want. We really know what we want in our hearts. Like, that's what our imagination is. It's telling us the future inside of us. Like, we have the ability to literally go into our mind and see the future.
Yeah.
Like, before anybody else believes in you, you have to believe in you. You have the ability to take a thought and an idea and turn it into a real life replica in our real world. So whatever that is that you want to do, produce, or create, you really can. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. We all have our different reasons why, those excuses why we can't do it. Because my mom died when I was 6. My brother was killed. My college coach, he didn't like me. My son had a tumor, so we're trying to fight cancer right now. I had COVID. We all have excuses. All have excuses. Even the homeless man on the corner has an excuse. But at the end of the day, you can either have excuses or you can have efforts. You can have reasons why you didn't do something, or you can have results from the work that you put in.
So, and I think you hit it spot on. We can either have reasons why we do something or reasons why we don't do something. All of us have the same amount of time in a day. All of us have been gifted with the same opportunities. Well, I'm not going to say the same opportunities, but all of us have been gifted
same opportunity
with the
of
same
24 hours in a
opportunity
day
of 24
if
hours
you
in a
wake
day.
up.
Exactly.
So.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, and again, there are real barriers that some of us have. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, some of us most of us find those barriers and we get complacent in that. We're like, okay, here's a barrier. Now there's a reason why I don't have to try as hard, so I can always use this, and now I'm just going to chill on that. Oh, no, I couldn't conceive. Here's a barrier. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of us who, there's some people, we all see those stories of the person who didn't have a car, but yet and still they got up and, there was actually, when I was in Birmingham, there was a story of this kid who every day he got up and literally walked like on the other side of town, every day. And then, Ricky Smiley found out about it and gifted this kid a car because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but think about how many other kids that went to the school around the corner that they missed the bus. Oh, cool, I'm staying home today. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Right. We all have, those of us that might be in school, might be in college, you know what I mean, and we partying it up, we finding reasons not to go to class, this, and this, but then there's a 58-year-old lady who went back to school, got kids and grandkids, and got 2 jobs, but she's on the dean's list. Right. You know what I'm saying? So all of us can find reasons, like you said, we can either find a reason to find an excuse, latch on to that, and let that define us as reasons why we can't succeed. Oh, well, even some of us use our current job as a reason. I've been here for 10 years. I know everyone here. I know everything here. I can retire here in another 20 years. I'm not gonna leave here. And it's a better golden opportunity that's gonna set you up for something, that could be God's blessing for you. Right. But we miss it because we're complacent in whatever it is that we're comfortable with. So,
and that goes into our next point. People are scared. They fear change.
Fear.
So they get complacent in where they are. They've been in a position. They get comfortable. Mm-hmm. So they start to make the excuses. They don't have time to really pursue their dreams, or they're too old to go do what it is they really want to do. Yeah. So there are barriers that are obstacles in our way, but then there are also barriers that are created. Yeah. The ones that are self-inflicted. At the end of the day, if you're riding around with a bunch of stuff in the car you ain't supposed to have in it, your headlights out, and your tags is bad, come on, man. That's self-inflicted right there. Like, yeah. I'm not saying you being targeted or nothing, but I'm just saying that's just kind of hot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, you mad at the professor because you failed the class, but meanwhile your attendance is only 42% and you ain't been participating in class. Then when you are there, you always talking crazy or being disrespectful. And you know what I'm saying? It's not even because that's really who you are, but it's because it's become a habit and you got used to it. So you're more or less possibly even embarrassed because if the teacher asks you to do something, since you haven't been there consistently because maybe your environment or how you've been subconsciously programmed to think, so when he calls on you to do something, you don't know it, and people might start laughing at you or cracking on a couple jokes. Yeah. So now you feel some type of way, but understand this isn't a Care For Me program, it's business. He's there to do his job, and you are there to do yours as a student and learn. Yeah. So you have to do your part.
And it's crazy because, and it's wild because one of the things that I even saw when I was mentoring young men and everything was some of these young people had a fear of looking like they were smart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they were afraid, well, if I look too smart around my friends, and I won't look cool, and they'll start joking me and call me a nerd or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And fear is crippling. You know what I'm saying? Fear is something that can really limit you and put you in a place that you can't be the best version of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about opportunities is I always just think about the Eminem song, Lose Yourself. Right. You only get one chance to blow. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because that job opportunity, or that project that's coming, or that case, or whatever it is that you're doing, you get something big that comes your way. The thing about that opportunity is going to exist with or without you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It came to you, and that's your opportunity. If you say no, that opportunity is going to go to the next person. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that opportunity may never come back to you again. You know what I'm saying?
The opportunity.
Yeah, and this also goes back to, you know what I mean? But the biggest thing about, about that is a lot of times we are afraid of those opportunities because we haven't been doing the groundwork to prepare ourselves.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because, it's like the old term, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready.
Right.
If you ready, we've all seen, and obviously you play football, so, we sports is a good analogy to use here. We've all seen the person, it's the next man up mentality. There's a lot of people that's on the sideline that are not starters. Half of them, when it's time to call their name, when that starter gets injured, they freeze up. Why do they freeze up? Because when you was in practice, you was on the sideline joking around.
Yep.
You wasn't studying the playbook. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We was in meetings, you was taking naps. You know what I'm saying? We at the team meeting, you joking around, you listening to music, you wasn't dialed in and focused when you was supposed to be focused. So now when you in there, you gonna look like the second string. You gonna look like you don't know what you're doing. So now you're afraid of the moment. You know what I'm saying? But when the we always talk about mental reps, that's something they talk about in sports all the time, so when you're not in, you're still looking and analyzing, making sure that, okay, I'm supposed to be playing middle linebacker. Okay, what's the read when it's a run to the middle? What's the read when it's a pitch? What's the read when it's a play action? What's the read when it's a drop back, 3-step versus 5-step versus 7? You know what I'm saying? And you're analyzing, okay, so now when you're in the game, coach, I've been watching film. I've been paying attention in practice. I've been staying coming before and after practice. So now when the moment and the opportunity is here, what am I afraid for? I know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like it, and that's what translates. So a lot of the times, our fear is self-inflicted. You know what I'm saying? We're afraid of that opportunity. We're afraid of that moment because when we should have been putting in that groundwork to making ourselves prepared for this moment, knowing this moment had the possibility of coming, we was watching Netflix. We was playing Xbox. We was trying to get all the girls on the weekends at the club instead of going to the library or going to do whatever was necessary to really grow and get yourself to the next level. So now when that contract comes around that you've been talking about you want, now when that opportunity comes around you've been talking about you want, you fold.
Bro, facts. So you can either live by fear or you can live by faith. I say starve your fears and feed your faith. Faith is having the ability to believe in something even if you can't see it. Like you believe in the air that you can breathe even though you can't see it.
Right.
Have faith in yourself that you can do, you can overcome whatever it is that you're going through, and you can have whatever it is in this life that you want.
Definitely. And, the main thing that we want y'all to take away from this is obviously the name of the show, determination overpowers excuses. So we have to build in the type of self-determination to where when an excuse comes anywhere within the vicinity of us, we don't pay that any mind, but we're able to elevate ourselves past the excuses. And again, a lot of us do have barriers in our lives. A lot of us do have traumas that we've experienced. When we were talking about mental health in the last episode, a lot of us go through things that really do make it difficult for us in our path, but it doesn't have to be impossible for you. You know what I mean? So, recognize what those excuses are, recognize the types of people around you that make excuses, and try to build an environment that's conducive for you to not only make sure that you're not making excuses to be the best version of yourself now, but that you're not making the type of excuses that will prevent you from elevating yourself to the best version of yourself in the future.
So you can either go through life or you can grow through life. You can go through the motions or you can grow and learn from each experience and continue to elevate along the process.
Definitely. So we really want to thank y'all for joining us for another installment of Dope Talks. And again, we want to shout out Millennial Studios.
Shout out Millennial Productions.
For allowing us this illustrious space to be able to bring y'all content as well as Good Shots creative content on the production side of things. We're going to keep bringing y'all as much content as we can. Again, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share. We trying to come to you through all platforms, YouTube, Facebook, podcasts, everywhere, so we really hope that no matter how you consume this podcast, that it's really something that'll be able to be a benefit to you and really help you find some motivation, and most importantly, get rid of those excuses. So until next time, I'm Goody,
And I'm Levon.
and this is Dope Talks.
Choppers a
Dope.
throwaway.
Yeah.
Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way.